And we ready to go?
Yep.
All right. Good evening, podcast world, and especially those folks out here on Facebook Live listening to us. Time for another episode of Things My Mother Never Told Me. How you doing, Brandis?
I'm well. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, me and Brandis going to do another one of those things we've been talking about episodes. It's in the since we were last on, there's been so much craziness going on that it's like, where do you start? And in fact, when does it stop? This is the we were especially talking. I'm sure by now everybody knows about little what's her name, Winter. Yeah. You know, I thought some of the other stuff that we were seeing over the past couple of weeks was really crazy, but this took the cake. I don't understand how people take it upon themselves to be mad at an ex and decide to take out whatever anger you got on a child. Baby ain't did nothing to you. Not a thing. And so you decide to take it out on the child. And you know, of course, when this guy goes to trial, they're gonna parade out all the people who say how mentally disturbed he is and all of that crap. But as this one gentleman was saying at a vigil, and we were talking about a little while ago, he wasn't so crazy that he didn't take his son. He took the little girl who has nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
And obviously his purpose for taking her was to hurt the mother.
Yep. Sole purpose. I mean, what other, benefit other than that, right? Oh, you want to take a baby to go and raise her. Okay, that's what you're doing?
Yeah, that's what you're going to do.
Take your son and go raise him. Take her away from him.
Exactly.
Out of her possession. Out of care or whatever.
Right, because the crazy thing about it is had he took his son, the mother would have been hurt.
Yeah.
It's still her child. And so she'd have been hurt by that. And she would have understood him taking his son. But him taking her daughter, who was another guy, was the father, you automatically saying that you up to totally no good. You plan on doing something really crazy. And so I don't get it. Don't get it. And I know all during the course of this incident, they were talking to, or they were interviewing various people, and I think his mother was one of them who said, "Oh, my son wouldn't take that baby. He wouldn't do nothing to her. He's not like that. The girl got problems. She's just trying to drag my son into her problems." Who said, "Really? Oh, my son."
It's always, the son that you probably raised well and remember raising, and when he was always in your care and 24 hours had your eyes on him, or what he's projecting out as a young man, is not maybe who your son is, when you're not around.
But then it might be, though, because I mean, for the most part, we kind of know what our kids are capable of.
Yeah.
Whether we want to admit it or not, that's a whole nother issue. Because many a day, when a parent is interviewed about a child who's a bully, or who's shot somebody or robbed a bank or did something crazy, they almost to a person, "Oh, my son wouldn't do that," or "My daughter wouldn't do that."
Never.
Well, what you mean they wouldn't? They just did. And in fact, when they interviewed him, when they talked about him speaking, that we were trying to get that straight, was whether it be his father or his uncle. That he was saying to them, everything he said was along the line, "Yeah, I done did something to this child, but I ain't gonna tell y'all where she at." And you're like, "Oh, listen, it's over anyway," and that kind of madness. And so that led me to wonder, why is it every time we get caught red-handed, we lie?
Holding the gun, holding, it's black and white on video, on candid camera, in text messages, and we still gonna sit up here and just try to see
Right.
Because maybe we don't believe that you really know what you're saying, you know.
Right. You gonna
Or
believe
you
your lying
seen with
eyes or what I told you? Like, come
yeah,
on now.
yeah.
Really?
And you know, different story, but I was watching Crime and Law on YouTube, and they had a guy, this was, I want to say 2018, he murdered his pregnant wife. And they brought him in for the interrogation. I watched this whole interrogation, and literally for the first 40 minutes, he had fabricated this whole story about somebody came to his house and brought his wife's things, and they gave him a gun and told him, you might need this for protection because they might be after you. And he's like, so I touched the gun because, you know, she gave it to me, so my fingerprints probably on it, like setting up this whole thing. And the detective finally at the end was like, okay, thank you so much. I wanted to just give you an opportunity to, share your story and tell me what happened. But we've been following you, right? We've seen you go to the Walmart and buy the gloves. We've seen you go back to the house, bring out the trash bags, put her body in a dumpster.
Right.
We watched all this happen. And for him to sit actively tell this story and then look at them in disbelief, like, you lying. Like,
right.
No, it's not true.
Right.
He's texting from her phone to himself and responding back and forth like they're having a conversation. They're like, when we ping the phones, it's going to show in proximity how that the phones are right next to each other.
Right.
And he's just like, well, hypothetically, what could someone get off if they possibly murdered somebody? And the detective is just like,
hypothetically.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm not going to make you any promises, but what you could do is come clean and be honest, and possibly we can go to the prosecutors and say you did have some remorse,
right?
But we can't guarantee a person hypothetically is going to get off with your pregnant wife in a dumpster behind your apartment.
Crazy.
No,
crazy.
So yeah, I mean, people will hold up the lie to the end,
to
the fall through.
They tell a lie until somebody believe it. I guess their mama will believe it, because my baby wouldn't do that. And it's like, I mean, when does reality kick in? And I guess part of the lie is to sell the mental defect story, because it's just like the guy, and we'll get back to Little Winter, but the guy who his cousin disappeared. Last time anybody saw her, she was with him. And he said they were smoking weed, getting high, whatever. And then she just stopped breathing. So
yes.
So he panicked
and
threw her body in a dumpster.
Did all this.
But then he turned around and told everybody he didn't know where she was, hadn't seen her. And then you come back a week or however long later, well, I put in the dumpster, she had stopped breathing, I was scared. Okay, now nobody can find her body. And so that's your story. That's the one you running with. You didn't kill her. She was getting high and she just stopped breathing, and you panicked. I don't understand. I guess it's possible, but if you with somebody and they just stop breathing, that you gonna panic and decide to hide the body?
Think that somebody's gonna think. Now, to me, it's like, I guess, from watching movies and shows that kind of show all these things, that happens often. People literally, you'll see accidental things happen.
Right.
And people really do panic. So I don't know if it comes from fear of what we've seen in media or on movies that happen to people, when they try to tell the truth or confess, and it turns into this whole other thing. So maybe that's what the fear is. I don't know. But I'm gonna just have to go down. I'm not gonna cover it up. I'm gonna just let the truth please prevail, because I'm calling. You're not gonna stop breathing in my presence. If I gotta do a year in jail for a little weed or some marijuana or some hard rock cocaine or something that we done got caught doing, I'd rather deal with that than them thinking I done essentially killed you, murdered you, and hid your body. All this crazy stuff, right? Because I'm panicking. So
yeah, and we've heard over the last few years, I mean, at least once a year, we hear a tale of somebody who decided they wanted to hide a body, freezers, whatever, and
chopping it up,
chopping it up, digging in the backyard, and every time it's like, well, I panic. Really?
And what part did you come out of your panic? Because you'd have chopped off 4 legs.
Yeah.
And we don't got 4 legs, but 2 legs, 2
two
arms.
arms, a
All I
hand.
got left is a torso. You
Right.
done scattered me up 75. That story with that chick who's still on the run.
Yeah.
You know, all this craziness, like, so.
Right. And the other one who drove from Metro Detroit up to Traverse City area and buried the body in a field.
Yeah.
It's like, really. And so, I think I was telling you a couple of weeks ago that we need a standing ovation. Everybody applause, clap. We have finally arrived. We have arrived. I mean, I think that we've been doing a lot of crazy stuff anyway, gang violence, and them shooting at each other and killing each other. But I think we finally arrived. We wanted to be white, like white folks for so long, that we finally got there now. Now we doing any and every doggone thing that they do. And the crazy part is we think that when we get caught, or that we're not going to get caught. That's the first part.
That's the one.
They think they're smarter than everybody else.
Smarter, yeah. That's that pride is telling them they.
Right.
Who, me? No, I can cover all this up.
Right. And then with that, we are dumb enough to think that we're going to get the same type of punishment that they do. People say money gets you off a lot of stuff, but it's still color gets you off of more stuff, even still. Because a rich man that's white and a rich man is black ain't doing the same time. They just aren't, because they're going to make an example out of the rich black man.
Yeah.
They just are.
100%.
So right. So we think that we're going to get away with that. But yeah, but I think we have arrived. You're hearing too many stories of young kids getting killed, getting abused, getting stuff done to them than you have ever in life. And we think that we have made it. I mean, I jotted down some stuff from the last couple of weeks. Philadelphia, 10 people shot, 5 of them died. Baltimore, we know about that big crazy story where 32 people were shot because 2 died. And then in Texas, 11 people shot, 3 died. And those are just a couple of the incidents that have happened over the last month. And we just don't get it. We just don't get it. We just keep doing the same madness to each other over and over and over again. And then wondering, and then we want to run around and blame somebody else for what's happening. And I understand that systematic oppression can cause people to act, act a certain kind of way. But when do you say enough is enough?
Yeah, we gotta do that accountability thing that we all sometimes don't like to do.
Yeah. And so another mother is bearing a child. And then, and I gotta say this, you do this crime up in Lansing. Why you gonna come down to Detroit?
You done travel through I don't know how many counties or whatever. You done came
but why you gotta
and then do it in Detroit?
And that's why I say that if they try to use he was crazy, he couldn't have been crazy. Because if you trying to slip away or hide, where would you take a body in Michigan? To Detroit.
Metro Detroit.
Yeah. How many times in the last couple of years we done seen people wind up dead and they find their bodies buried in Detroit? And more often than not, they take them on the east side.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, how many times do we hear about these people going missing that never turn up?
They never turn up.
Because somebody,
Right. And so you ain't, people who doing
using
that, you ain't crazy. No, you're not clinically insane. You're crazy.
Right. Yeah. Now that's the difference right there. Yeah. But I don't find any clinical or doctor or whoever that would be a psychologist to say you are unfit to stand trial or whatever the case may be. And, that's the reason for your actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Miss Marion Beck says, that's why my mother told me never lie to me. If you lie to me, I will not say that it's something that my child would do.
Right. I mean, you're not doing your child a favor. You're not doing your child a favor by saying that oh no, they wouldn't do that. Especially when because there's a lot of them that know their kids doing this crazy mess and they still protecting them. the guy, this guy, they said for part of the reason why he was getting away is because people was
He
helping
was
him.
helping him.
Well, remember they didn't catch him. Now he came from Lansing, so the route that he had to take, it took him through Detroit, but they caught him in St. Clair Shores.
Yeah.
So now I don't know where he was going. Was he going back up to Lansing the other way around?
He was going towards. He was almost out of St. Clair Shores. He was at 11 Mile.
Yeah.
11 Mile, and then looped back around the 10 and went over to Mac. So once they, put sirens and lights and sirens on him, he came swooping back around trying to get away from him. But he was on his way right on up somewhere else. I don't know where if he was making a big circle.
Maybe he's trying to go to Blue Water to Port Huron and go across over to Canada from there.
Ain't no telling.
Right, but I mean, then he ran into a police car.
Yep. Smashed that car.
Right.
But the thing too that was alarming when I watched the video of them, getting him, he was like pillows and stuff in the back. So now I'm like, oh my goodness, did he had a baby in the back? You know what I'm saying? The seat was in there, but it was pillows and stuff in the trunk. And he goes to the officer, oh, would you treat your son like this? And I'm watching like, well, they treated you very well for someone, to a 2-year-old to be missing and they've been looking for her for 4 days. Like you got tased a few times, but you'll be okay.
Right. Should have got tased a few more times.
And we've seen people die in traffic stops that,
Right. And then they
very well should be alive.
And then they said that he so they believe, I know you heard this part, that he strangled her.
Yeah, with the pink charger cord.
Yeah, pink charger cord.
The other piece was still in the car. Yes, they're saying. So yeah, I mean, and then the following day, another domestic situation, and then another little, I think she was 3, was missing, but the article went up and down so fast that they posted it said she was missing, but no Amber Alert had went out. Right. And then they said she was found like within an hour or so. But I was just like, you got to be kidding me! It was literally right in the same time period after, I think I'm gonna say after they made an official announcement that they had found Winter's body. I was like, not another one. This is now this going crazy here.
Right. Well, I mean, it's just too much craziness going on. And then I heard this other story where this woman said her son had been missing for some years now, and come to find out he was living in the house with her.
Saw that.
Yeah, and I just didn't have the energy to try to read that story.
Go into it.
Yeah, because what? And because they went in the house, she tricked people into thinking that this wasn't her son. Like, what kind of crazy? That's
disturbing. Disturbing.
And so we just had to just talk about that for a minute because it just and I think everybody is burnt out on it, but it's one of those things that we just can't get beyond. And then there's the fool who tried to abduct a woman at Target in Troy, who then they found out he's a suspect in a murder in Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, what is going on?
You're right. What's going on? As our good friend Mr. Gay would say.
Yeah, right. And so that's why I say we've arrived. We have arrived. I mean, you can't read the newspapers without seeing something crazy over these last couple months. It's just people doing too much. And the question is why? What are you hoping to gain? And they worried about they keep talking this thing about guns. They saying they got other ways to kill people.
Oh yeah, take the guns, but don't worry, people will figure out a way, right? Because we're not addressing beyond, gun violence and those types of things, domestic. There's going to be something driving somebody to whatever this edge for them is, or, that we have to address. I can think for me, the quietest times on the news and in the reporting of things was during the pandemic. Now, maybe I just wasn't paying attention, or it was just, we were all focused on the virus but it just seemed like crime rates went down. And I feel like I've read articles where, in fact, there are reports that, some of those crimes were decreased.
They did.
By great margins.
Everything.
So it sounds like.
Look, during the pandemic, crime went down, emissions, the ozone started repairing itself, all that stuff was yelling because them knuckleheads, if they was out there in the streets, it wasn't nobody for them to do nothing to.
And they had some money. They figured out the unemployment and they had a little money in their pocket and everybody was at peace. Right. So it seems like we may need to speak to insurance some money for people. How do we joked about the roads last week. Can we talk about some more stimuluses? Get these people some dollars or something to do.
They're taking all that back. They're taking all that back. It's like we just are at a point. We are at a point where we just don't know which way to turn. Yeah. We don't know what's up and what's down. And it was something that I was thinking about. I know you wanted to talk about the governor and her program that she's putting in place, but I'll drift off and we'll come back to that. What I've discovered, and because every time this stuff happens, the first thing people start crying about is, well, why God letting this happen? That's what everybody else says. Well, why God letting this happen? And the truth of the matter is that it's always been said that God has given us free will. He's given us the will to make choices. And at the point that he stops people from doing whatever it is they're doing, whether good, bad, or indifferent, then he's taken away your choice. Right. So then what's your purpose? What's the point? And so I would ask the question of anybody who says, why does God allow? Why do we allow? Like we going back to Whitmer and talking about what the mother said about her son and the other cases that we know, people are always defending people who they know have the propensity to do crazy stuff. They defend them, or in a lot of cases, they hide them. People running from the law, people not turning them in.
Getting help. Yeah. We ain't speaking up. We ain't snitching. We don't know nothing. Hear no evil, see no evil.
Right. You see that guy last week? Was it last week they caught him? Guy had been on the run for like 10 years, I think it was. Or some craziness like that, been on the run. And they finally caught him on a humble.
Wow.
And so, but somebody had to be hiding him.
Assisting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do that by yourself. And so what's your role in it? You saying why God allowing it? Why are you participating?
Yeah.
As opposed to, you should be a snitch and get that crazy person on the street.
Off the street, some help or something.
Right. Because if you say it's God's fault, and so why would he do that? So now you don't want to be dealing with it. So then what do you want to deal with? What do you want to, what do you want to believe? Where do you want to go? That's the question. If you don't want to participate in doing good, so you want to participate in the bad side, or you don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And now you still want to blame God, but you just want to wash your hands. Hey, I ain't
everything. I'm just here. Yeah.
If it ain't good, I don't want to be dealing with it. And then when the good stuff happens, who you thank for?
Who applauding, right? Who we saying thank you to or applaud? No, that's just nature, the law of nature.
Right, exactly.
Doing its thing.
The universe brought that to me. So we really need to decide what we want it to be, and then participate in the good stuff and give honor and thanks where it's due. Because whatever you don't want to believe, one thing for sure, you ain't bring yourself here.
Sure didn't. That I'm gonna know.
Yeah, and you ain't keeping yourself here. How about that?
Because I done seen some stuff wiped off the earth.
Right. And you be 2 feet
strange phenomena that y'all haven't yet to explain for me. So I'll take up where I'd like to believe.
Right. Yeah. So I just want to throw that out there. So now we'll shift gears. You were talking about the Whitmer with the
yes. So she has essentially kind of waived this asset test that was put in place to limit SNAP benefits, for Michiganders. I want to say in what year?
Hold on just a second, Brandon.
Okay.
I want to respond real quick. A child got violated in the bathroom at a beach in Chicago just the other day.
Oh, wow.
And then she said, this is Marion Beck. And then she said one man was on the run for 40 years and then was crying in the court proceedings because he got caught. How
You
you
have had a
40
full
years?
You have had a full time free. I think you should just be in there. This is my just due.
If you
with
if
no
you,
help, right.
but I want to ask you a question though. Not you, but because she come on my music show.
Okay.
Queen Big Sexy. The person that was on the run for 40 years, the crime that they was running from, how much time was they gonna get? If you know that, type that in the chat, because you ran for 40 years. Now you done got caught. Let's say the offense, let's say it was a 15-year deal that you would have went down.
He would have been done, buddy.
25 years ago, you would have been done living your life. Now here you are 40 years later, getting ready to go to jail.
With some tacked on charges or something. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
So all you did was make your life worse. Because you couldn't have been living too good a life because you're too busy looking over your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go ahead, Brandon.
Sheesh, yeah. Governor Whitmer signed a bill. I want to say it was called the Senate Bill 35, essentially ending the asset test for food assistance in Michigan. So basically, you apply for food assistance, they take a look at, outside of just your regular earnings, your assets, right? So things they listed in the article are like your vehicle or what's in your savings account. These things cannot total more than $15,000. If they do, in fact, then that automatically makes you ineligible. So her thing is, people shouldn't have to decide between wiping out my bank account or, emptying out my savings or getting rid of my transportation and needing to use public transportation or third-party transportation services just so that I could feed my family. Okay. Now, what I found interesting about this is that I want to say it was the 15,000 was put back in place in 2018 or 2019, but previously it was a lower amount. Now I'll keep looking for that to find it here. But the reason it was increased because they found out that a man had won the lottery for $2 million and essentially he stayed receiving food assistance. So they were like, now, wait a minute. Now there's got to be something in place here that says, you have $2 million. You should at least be able to afford food for a year if you get off of the assistance here. Let somebody else who honestly cannot afford it, get this assistance. And I could just imagine him just collecting up every month, going grocery shopping, not a care in the world. What his little, what did you say? It might have been like 1.3 million on the payout or something.
1.4 million after taxes.
After taxes or something like that. So you just kicking it and still getting your support on your, your food benefits.
Real quick, she said she think it was for murder, and it wasn't one of us.
No.
Yeah, he had help, but okay.
Oh yeah.
But he shouldn't have killed the person, whoever it was. Because I guess for murder, you gonna run because when they catch you, it's over. But right. But you know what? I don't understand. Yes, I do. I understand.
We want what we can get. Yeah. You tell me there's no rule against it.
Everything.
Yeah.
I got $1.5 million and $1.4 million in the bank. But doggone it, I want them food stamps too.
I need them. Because why can't I? Right. So then it says that currently 36 other states don't have the asset test. So we joined that list of places where, if you fall on a hardship or get in a tough time, you can go and not fear that somebody's going to be running down, what you got in your house or what you got sitting in your savings account. Right. To determine whether or not you actually, may need help for a period of time.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. Because I'd take $50 a month and I would say thank you and be on my way. just for a little help.
Right, right.
You don't got to empty out the bank, the treasury, and nothing for me. Just slide 50 on it, and I will say thank you. I'll let that cover the snacks or the juice. I don't know. The meat can't cover really the meats for real, because wings is about 20, half of that's gone on some
Right.
wings if I want them that month.
That's right.
So yeah.
But see, for me, I would automatically have to turn myself in if I won that, because I know I'd be the one they catch.
Yeah, and always my fear for
Yeah.
anything.
Right, I'd be
You're
the
not
one
gonna
to
get me.
But I mean, but at the point that you won the lottery,
And maybe
and
he just forgot. It
and you
wasn't thinking about that.
maybe he didn't know he had to turn. Yeah, he had to report that. You win the
Was
lottery,
he using it? I need the details. Was he
right?
going in the grocery store and using it?
Well,
Probably so. That's probably how they figured
or
out.
was he selling it to somebody
Mm.
for a few less pennies?
For a little more in the bank to pad the
But
bank.
why
He
would
said,
you?
I got to
Why
get
would
my
you?
whole 2 million.
Right?
So he
Why
needed
would
to
you?
make that back.
Because the state got to just when you turn that
All the
ticket in,
records.
the state know that you got to give me your social security number.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, the people who give you the assistance every month got your social security number too. Somewhere
So they
along,
all connected.
yeah, somewhere along the line, they're gonna cross match it. It's gonna be a hit. They're gonna say, "Wait a minute, hold on, stop, wait, let's not do this." So, and I'm thinking our need for greed. We need to stop and think about the consequences of our greed. You remember I was telling you earlier with the Social Security, people on Social Security that aren't of that age where you don't have to worry about the income test. That money that you make above and beyond the income limit, they penalize you the next year. Not the year that you made the money, the following year. So your monthly allotment gets deducted according to what the test is the following year. So if you're thinking about that, you need to think about that really.
Yeah.
Because then now you putting yourself at a disadvantage.
To possibly be, yeah.
Look, it ain't worth it unless you get a real big hit. A real big hit. That's when it becomes worth it.
Or you're, actively managing your finances to know I'm not,
right.
I'm staying within my numbers.
Right. Is the mic better? They said my mic was down.
They said it last week too, but when I was listening to it, it was coming through fine on mine. That's weird.
It depends on it, because I know on my show some people can't hear
it. Lower. Okay.
Yeah. So
cool beans.
Yeah, so that's the madness of that. So what was and then to the point of the story though, why Governor Whitmer is and what is the legislature in the state proposed that the Senate did, and so she signed the bill when it passed.
It's what did it say? Signed a repeal. So I'm assuming that
repealing
means it,
repealing the law that was on the books. Right.
Yeah. Now Republicans, of course, feel like you do this and it's just going to open it up for more lottery winners and millionaires to go and apply and take away from people who truly need it. But do I feel like Republicans care about the people who truly need it in real life?
No, because they already doing it. They just ain't got caught.
They don't want no help. They don't want nobody else in on it.
Right. They don't want none of that. The problem is like when they do the income test, okay, you don't want somebody to have a car, or at least not a car that's reliable. And you don't want them to have a savings account. With two things that you can't get around, not in Michigan, you can't get around without that. I mean, everybody needs a savings account. And they need as much money in the savings account as they can get in there. They just do. Because, stuff happens.
The way it's life, the way life is life around here.
Right. Stuff happens. And then a car, there ain't no reliable mass transportation here.
Less than, So, and you going about an income tax card that may get you through us. You get your taxes beginning of the year. If you get to the winter with that same car that you got, you found a good one.
Yeah. And then of course, if you're a Detroit resident, your insurance is through the roof.
Eat all that up too. So yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, so
But
you definitely be making a big decision. But yeah, I think that's a big one too. That probably was brought up. I'd be interested in knowing that because we don't have like, a training system that's, fairly reasonable to afford, right? You can get on Woodward and go up and down the monorail thingy a
well,
few blocks back and forth,
they are
but
talking about expanding that.
expanding it.
Yeah, because somebody took it. One of these foundations took it over.
Okay.
I just found out last week, 2 weeks ago, that it's still free.
Wow.
Because it was free during when it first came out, and then it's supposed to start charging. But I read somewhere where this foundation, this group took it over, and they extended the free period. Right, and they were talking about extending it out to the suburb because they need to. Otherwise, it's useless.
It's a attraction for me at this point. Like the people mover was. I went downtown, when I was younger because my mom worked down there, and we went in a circle, and it was, an attraction for me. Now it's like, if I go down there, yes, I may get on in the summer or something, just because it's nostalgia. But where are we commuting between work sites? I mean, or to parking garages?
Well, on the people mover, what they call that?
Colo and TCF and
right.
all those were
What they call
connected.
that thing that's riding down Woodward? What they call it?
I don't know the real name. I just call it a monorail.
Right. It goes it goes from downtown to New Center and back. That's where it goes. So anything between New Center,
Q line.
There you go. Anything between Woodward and between the downtown and New Center, you can ride the Q line. I don't know who would have a need to do that, but
okay. Back and forth all day. I mean, unless you're, like I said, parking out and then riding it in, like parking down by the boulevard somewhere, stashing your car or in the structure, and then going down, in. But yeah.
Right. Hey Eve, how you doing? Yeah, so I don't know. But
yeah, go apply, tell a friend, tell a neighbor. Possibly you may get $50 to help with them groceries. Now I'm sure there's still probably some other minimum income requirements that,
right.
But the assets just won't be included. They won't take into account your new 2023 Cadillac or something.
Well, now look, I'm gonna say this. Somebody might get mad. If you driving a 2023 Cadillac,
keep your tail out of it.
You don't need no food stamps.
We all can use a little help.
Okay,
we want to apply our money where we want to apply it. They wanted to get a Cadillac. They didn't want to buy food.
Right. And then you want somebody to supply you food.
Else to get me food.
A Cadillac? Get out of here. I can't afford a Cadillac. In Chicago, tickets keep you from getting a car.
Oh, well,
yeah, but yeah, right. Like you said, Chicago got good transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right, there you go. I'm glad she said this. However, public transportation is good, except you got to worry about getting killed.
Oh, there's that.
No, I'll say that
next thing.
I think Jasmine was telling me that Chicago, once upon a time, if you went downtown Chicago, you were safe. Them little knuckleheads didn't go downtown doing all that mess.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, they going down there doing all kind
of in daylight.
A month, 2 months ago, this couple from North Carolina was downtown in the evening, and this mob attacked them. I'm trying to think. I think, did they say this woman came out of a store and helped them? It was an interracial couple, and they came and got her to safety or something like that, because these people out there attacking them. They said they stole their gym shoes and something else.
Wow. Yeah, you gotta be on guard at all times at every place now these days. It just is what it is.
Chicago used to be one of the places when I go downtown. When I went downtown Chicago, I was like a tourist.
Yeah, you let your guard down, just attend.
Walk around, go shop, window shop, whatever you want, go get something to eat and just have a good old time. Now you got to look over your shoulder. Because before Jasmine moved down to Springfield, we were in Chicago, and they were acting up so bad down there. They were letting the bridges up at night.
Oh yes, I remember they were doing that.
Right.
Yep.
So I said, well, we don't have to go down there, because we're gonna go down there Yeah, Leanne's father had the boat, and we were gonna go
Yeah,
down there and do the boat ride. I said, well, I ain't trying to go down there and
give me a matinee ride.
try to rush back before the bridges get let up. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
remember they were doing
yeah, and so that's that. I mean,
that. Yeah.
and that's why I say we've arrived. We're at a point where we're gonna do any and everything that we think we big and bad enough to do, except it's one thing that we don't want to do, and that's the time. We do the crime. We tear stuff up, but when we get caught, like Marion was saying earlier, get in the courtroom crying like a baby.
Right.
I saw a video. This guy got convicted. This guy got convicted of murder. Did he get the death penalty? But he was talking. He told his lawyer, "Come here. I got something to tell you." And his lawyer leaned in. He hit him with an elbow right to the head, because you know they had him handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
He hit him with a forearm right to the head.
Said some way, I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get my lick.
Right. You did the
like
crime.
Your actions right didn't land you here.
Right. It's my fault you got convicted. I was supposed to get you off, and you know doggone well you killed it, and 37
Guilty
people saw you do it. But I'm
guilty as all get out.
Yeah. Say, look,
Foolish.
They robbed one of my neighbors, and they carjacked another one of my neighbors, and I live on the block where where Mayor Daley's house is.
Oh yeah, they don't care. It's quite obvious. No place or space is exempt or safe.
A month ago in Chicago, a police officer was coming home from her shift, and these guys tried to jack her in front of her house. Wound up shot and killed her. She was in uniform.
Is that the one she told him don't, she got a gun or she will shoot him?
She tried, right. She tried. I'm trying to think, I think she did shoot one of them. But because Z was all broke up about that. That was one of her friends.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they don't care. They don't care. It's just like the cop in the gas station here was going down to the concert. Whose concert was he going to? Taylor Swift. Was Taylor Swift just here?
And they got him? Mm-hmm.
They tried to take his gun. He was in the gas station at the store, and the guy came up and tried to take his gun. Like, really?
That. Terrible.
And he had to fight with the guy. Luckily, the other guy was scared.
Yeah, that's what saved him, because if they both had, because he wasn't about, they was about neck and neck. There wasn't no, total takedown there. But if that other one didn't ease up or didn't help him, that's what, but I'm just like, oh, y'all gonna just do it. Okay. No care. Just
walked up, stood there looking at him. Oh, he got a gun. I'm finna take this. He in uniform, so you know he a cop. What kind of crazy stuff is going on? It just makes absolutely no sense. People out here on the road, you can't drive past nobody. You can't look there. You can't, if somebody's drifting into your lane, you can't blow your horn.
Don't do nothing.
You can't do nothing.
Get yourself to safety and go on about your day. And thank God that you made it through that one another day.
I remember years ago, Jason was young, and I was taking him to something at church, and we riding down 8 Mile when we were coming up Livernois, and this car was drifting into my lane. Mm-hmm. I blew my horn. And then I went on, but this guy came flying up next to me. I turned and looked at him. He looked
brandishing a gun?
Oh, no, he wasn't brandishing no gun. But he would look like he had lost his mind. He would look like a raving lunatic.
You alerted him that he was drifting.
Because he was about to hit my car, hit my car. So you know what I did? I started laughing.
Oh.
And when I started laughing,
I do that to people. I gotta stop. You're goofy.
I saw the steam coming out his ears.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy crazy.
I had me an incident recently, and she waited at a green light for me to come down to her, because I didn't pull out of Walmart fast enough into the traffic for her. I'm not tearing my car up. I know how fast my car can go out there, and I'm not speeding through a Charger and a Ram. No, right. Let them go. Then I'll go behind them when it's safe and clear for me to do so.
Right.
Waited at the green light. So when I got to the green light, like, oh, you're waiting for me? You're goofy.
What
And
is
it
she?
was a whole thing.
What does she look like?
Young black girl.
Oh, okay. See, they getting
Like a
crazy,
suburban young black girl,
right?
though, but you know.
Because used to be white women used to do that more than anybody. That was their thing.
I get a white auntie. No, I'm just
Right, but I mean, I don't understand, and so I've got myself to the point now. I look at you and whatever you can scream, holler, do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Don't put your hands on me.
Hands, yep.
And I'll take the L on that, and we go
Yep.
about our business.
Never gonna see you again for real, hopefully, unless you remember. And then it turns into you seen the Netflix, The Beef. Did you ever watch that or
Oh my
check that
God.
out?
I watched some of it.
As long
I
as it don't
couldn't.
become that, yeah, that went on for too long.
She was crazy, but he was
Yeah,
too.
very
Both of
much
them was
so.
crazy.
Crazy together and not letting it go. So if anybody that hasn't watches Netflix, you're looking for a new show, check out Beef. It's pretty interesting. Like I think it's an all Asian cast, and they
Is that guy Asian?
I think so. I think that was kind of one of the fames about it was that they had this whole show.
Right.
Possibly correct me if I'm wrong there, guys. But anyway, it's a story about basically road rage and how one incident turns into this whole like continuing thing of them going back and forth at each other. So yeah, that's interesting. I think it got nominated for some Emmys today, actually, too. So
okay, I thought it was junk. It was too
I
crazy
did too
for me.
initially. I'm like, this is crap. Who's doing
I
this forever and ever?
Right? Why do you keep doing this? Both of them just mad.
Doing stuff.
Like,
Yeah, it sucked
calm
me in. I was
down.
like, okay, now I just got to see what happens here because y'all taking this far, and it does go far, literally. Like, I mean, the character development and some of the stories too kind of helped carry it because it wasn't just them going back and forth, but there were some other things that kind of,
right,
came into that. But
yeah, right. There's a lesson in that. Do we need to glean, and that is, and people don't seem to realize this. It does not matter what somebody says to you, or a horn blown at you, or whatever their anger is about. At the point that they have not brandished a weapon in your direction, or they have not put their hands on you, you can just walk away. I don't understand the whole.
You've won.
Yeah, you won. People get so hung up on, like I get mad at you and I call you all kinds of names, everything with the child of God, and I walk away. I told her. What did you tell her? Absolutely nothing.
I might be steaming for a couple hours, but I'm going to sleep. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm gonna kiss my kids that night, or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
Water under the bridge, under my shake the dust from my feet, whatever. Go on in peace.
Right, because that guy, well, I guess he killed innocent people, but it's the idea that these folks that get in these incidents where they just won't back down. I know there have been times people won't let you, but more often than not,
there is an out.
There's an out, and you need to take it.
Yeah,
you really need to take it. And we didn't talk about that. Did we talk about that incident last time where the guy shot, the gas station clerk shot the guy through the door?
No, and I just thought about that maybe a story or two ago when we was talking, and I thought about that. Like, I just seen him and the judge talking to him like, the door was locked. He couldn't charge through the door. He wasn't having a weapon and coming breaking through the door. No, murder. We will proceed with this trial like it's
right. And you aim the gun right at his face and pull the trigger. What the?
Behind a locked door.
Behind a locked door that you got the key to. And so that's the other issue though. These gas station owners or employees, and they working in these unregistered gas stations and doing whatever they want to do. And then they had it on Let It Rip. They had the conversation about this, and the one guy, he said, "This is not a cultural thing." Well, it seemed to be.
I don't know if I want to beg the differ, sir, but I think I got to raise my hand here and highlight maybe that there is something happening here.
Right.
Yeah. So the family of that guy is suing Exxon, I believe.
Yeah, they are.
Because they're saying
for a few million.
Yeah, like your employee who should have been trained or should have had the proper tools to know how to handle this situation.
And they trying to get off on thing because it was an unregistered gas station.
No. Okay.
They're technically not their employee. Well, you still delivering gas to them.
I was about to say, I said, how they getting this gas then? I mean, it seemed
They
like
still
y'all has stopped been bringing them gas.
and they still got
By now,
your name on the door.
name plastered up on the side.
Oh my
So,
God. Yeah, we praying for you too. She said it's been 2 tornado warnings since she's been on here.
oh wow.
And I'm glad she brought that up. We gonna segue away from this. We're gonna talk about some stupid stuff. Jasmine showed me a video, somewhere around the block from her, when they had the little storm.
He outside.
He was in the garage.
Garage.
He had the garage door open. Y'all listen to this now. He had the garage door open and he's videoing this wind. And he got a basketball rim.
And it's bending like
and it's
Beckham,
bending
baby.
like crazy. And
it's bending like
he's standing there talking about, oh my God. Oh my God. And then when it finally bent and they showed you to the right, it was a tree.
Completely. The one across the street, I was watching that one in the background and it was going down. And I'm like, sir, please close the garage and go inside.
Garage door open. You talking about because he videoing the rim shaking. This tree is down.
So it was really, yeah. The way I knew it was serious though, the way that rim was bending, I'm like, yeah, I remember those metal poles playing in the driveways on the street and with the basketball. That was bending like it was
like that. It's time to shut that. And then he let the door down a little bit, and then he let it back up.
Then when the dirt came flying in, I would have been done. I was like, yep.
Yeah, let me say this. If you and I understand.
Yes,
because it's two things.
There.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Look at this happening.
I want to see it, but I don't want to see it near me.
Yeah.
I just don't. Yeah. So I understand. I'd have
got me 10 seconds worth. He had a whole about 3-minute video.
Yeah, he could have sold that for a movie.
Yeah, the whole storm watchers.
Right.
Got y'all some B-roll. Come by, B-roll for cheap.
Listen. It's cool to want to do stuff, and it's cool to want to get the next viral video. I mean, everybody want to do that. Everybody want to get 1 million.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's the move. Everybody want to get that million. It.
But is it worth your life? Probably not. I remember that tornado went through the east side years ago when y'all was little. I went home and went to sleep. I am not gonna be.
I were in the basement somewhere screaming for Jesus. Granny had us crying and screaming for Jesus, having service in the basement. Yeah, Granny would have never is the first thing I thought when I saw that video. We could have never been outside during that. Right, turn the lights off, turn everything off in here and get in that basement.
Because it came right by y'all. It missed me. It went south, west of us in the Grosse Pointe. Because that was the same storm that them people was out there in the park and they picked them up in that gazebo and dropped them in Detroit River.
Whoa.
It was about 6 people in the gazebo and they picked them up and dropped them in the Detroit River.
Oh man.
Did y'all think that gazebo was going to protect y'all from that storm? It's knocking down trees that's 20 feet around. Well, not 20 feet, but
40 years old, 100 years old.
Well, that tree was big. Get out of here. So we gotta do better. And I think most of our problems lie in the fact that we just don't want to back down from any situation. We just don't. We just want to do what we want to do when we want to do it, how we want to do it, and let the chips fall where they may, and then blame somebody else. When it go wrong.
It's the thing's been it's worked out before, right? So there's been a way out or a way of escape made before. So this one surely it's gonna be a way out again until it all catches up.
Brandon, I was either yesterday or Monday. I'm looking at the news, and there was down in was it Louisiana? They tend to get a whole lot of floods, and it was wherever it was. Oh, was it East Coast? But anyway, it was flooded. It flooded.
Mhm.
And this guy said his daughter, and I don't understand how house was flooding. This makes no sense to me. And he was so casual. She decided she was going to go and get out the house because the house was flooding. So she steps out the house to go across this little road, and the water's rushing by the road. He said as soon as she stepped on the road, the water took her and shot her down the road.
Wow.
And he said the car was right there. She tried to grab inside the wheel jam of the car.
And
He said she couldn't. She couldn't hold it.
Oh, okay.
And it just swept her. I think it was her and her dog.
Wow.
He said as soon as it hit her, she was gone. It was his daughter, and he was talking. I've got more excitement.
Just matter of fact,
I got more emotion in my voice than he had. He said, "I knew she was gone." And they said he saved her husband. He was able to save him, but he didn't.
Okay, so they went out after them, or once it. But he stayed in, so it wasn't flooding too bad if he decided to stay in there.
I don't see. I you know how they tell these stories, and you gonna get all
be leaving out there.
But he said that she was scared that her house was flooding, and she wanted to get out the house before she got trapped in there before the water got too deep. That's what it was.
Okay.
But the water was rushing by because at the point that you step out there and it just sweep you away.
Yeah, that's moving.
You better take your chances in the house. Go up on the roof if you got to. And it just swept her away. He said he looked down and said she was gone. He said, I know she ain't survived. So y'all ain't made no, because the water was gone. Ain't nobody went down there and looked.
Just to see, maybe she floating with a little hand out or something.
Yeah. It's some crazy stuff going on and people acting crazier by the minute. But beyond all that, we need to be careful, and people need to not get themselves in situations, I guess, that they don't have to get into. Now, I will say that the girl in Troy, she actually fought the guy, and he had a gun on her.
Okay, yeah.
So, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you got to, especially if I'm feeling like this might be it, I'm not going to just go down here. I'm going to at least try, because you never really know.
You don't know. You don't know. And my thing is that I guess if you got a gun on me, you tell me to get in my car, I think that's a no. We're going to have to resolve this right now. I don't think I'm going to let you take me somewhere. Because it hadn't got totally dark yet. It was like about 8:30-ish, somewhere around there when this happened. So it was getting dark, but it wasn't dark yet. Yeah. And they was in the parking lot of a major store. I don't think I'm going to let you take me to the woods. So
I'm not gonna find out. So yeah.
Right, yeah. So she fought him off, and thank God she did, because then we find out that he killed somebody else the night before.
Yeah. And they said they got into an altercation or whatever, and he was paying her for sex or whatever the case may be, and killed her and left her.
Right. Really? So, you got your sex, you pay her and go about your business. Maybe he wasn't paying her enough. They was getting how you get an altercation? I think that's a pretty cut and dry thing, isn't it?
We know why we're here.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. It's over with. This is what we agreed on. Let's keep it moving.
Maybe that's what it was. He wasn't trying to pay. Deary.
Then she gonna go for bad.
At that point, I'm just gonna have to take my break for the day.
Right. So, all right, Brandon. So we're gonna let these folks go. Got anything else you want to chat about?
No, that's it for me.
Is being right more important than peace? If we could take a few moments to think in certain situations when our emotions are all out of control, a lot of things could be solved with better choices, that peace is more important. I pray we can get back to that place. Sometimes it's
we got to practice that before those situations come. You got to practice in small situations. You got to practice protecting your peace, because if that's not a habit, you're just gonna put that on a day when it's time to be fired up.
Right.
Let me just find my Zen. No, you gotta be actively practicing your peace, your Zen, and all that. You know, when
Right.
small things happen, so you can essentially put that on, or pray real hard and ask for God to step in right in this moment, please, because Brand is not about to be able to not hold myself, so I'm gonna need some greater power.
Right, that's right. And you know the thing about it is that when that prayer gets answered, we got to be smart enough to follow through on
Yield to it.
yeah
Yeah,
hear the
yield
answer.
into yield into that way out, that open door that's being made for you to
Right.
escape. Don't you keep standing there
Right.
antagonizing.
Yeah, it's like that old story that they tell about the woman that was in the flood, and she said, "Oh God, save me!" and a guy came in a raft or a little rowboat. No, the Lord gonna save me. The guy came in a bigger boat. Oh no, the Lord gonna save me. And they came in something. She's on the roof stuck. They came with a helicopter. The Lord gonna save me. And she drowned. And then she in front of St. Peter's, in front of God. God, I thought you was gonna save me. I sent you a boat, a ship, and a helicopter. What more you want me to do?
Look, lift me out of here.
Yeah,
supernaturally take me. Put me on dry land, Lord.
Right. Yeah, you know, miracles happen, but they don't happen the way you think they're gonna happen.
That's right. You got to be vigilant here.
That's right. And don't be mad because it ain't happening the way you want it to happen. Just take your blessing and keep it moving. You know, accept that person that you don't like blessing you. I gotta tell this other joke. This woman said there's a guy across the street, hated her, couldn't stand her, and she was said the Lord gonna provide, and I think they was gonna provide food for her. And she went out and was food sitting in front on her porch because this guy next door, he didn't believe in God. He said, I'm gonna get her. So he gave her food. And he kept doing this for like 3-4 weeks. And she said, someday got into a discussion. I'm paraphrasing it. And she said, well, the Lord provides. And he said, the Lord ain't did nothing. I gave you all that food. She said, yeah, but the Lord used a devil like you to give me food. See, she recognized that her help came from. Yeah, he didn't believe in God. Yeah, he didn't believe in God, but God used him to feed her. So get out of here. Take your blessing as it comes. That's all we got to do.
That's it.
Real quick shout out. Next week, we're going to have my cousin who wrote a book called Church Girl Chronicles. I believe that's the title. She's going to be on here and talk about the book, how the inspiration behind writing the book. And there's a lesson in there for a lot of us. You know, I've read the book, so I think you might want to join in and check her out as she tells her story, how she got inspired to write this book. So,
looking forward to that.
Yeah. Anything else, Brandis?
That's it. See you all next week.
See y'all. So thank you for listening
in. As always,
we're gonna get off our rant. We appreciate you. Take care.
Take care. Bye.